22nd of December, Rabbi Furst, Parsha Hashavua, Vayigash.
Thank you. That's right. Yeah, as we mentioned, this is Rabbi Shalom Furst here, Erev Shabbos, Yerushalayim, Yeshiva Samanashi, care of Zoom, Parshas Vayigash, Shana Tuf Kuf Pei, Tufshin Pei Dalit. And we are in Perik Mem Vav of Bereshis. You have it there, Lou? We read through the first pasuk. Roy, you want to clue Lou into where we're holding with things?
We're discussing. We're trying to work out why we've said that Israel journeyed with all he had, and came to Beersheba and he offered sacrifices. And this is strange too, unto the God of his father Isaac, Yitzchak. But we don't know why. What was he offering? What was the offering? He journeyed. Would it be because he completed his journey safely? No.
Well, I mean, there was that journey. Where the question is, we have to try and understand also from where did he came, right? He came to Beersheba. Yisrael, we call Yisrael, we are Beersheba. He came to Beersheba. So the question is, where did he come from? Could be, you know? Could be.
He said, it's enough. Joseph, my son, is yet alive. I will go and see him before I die. That's the last pasuk in Vayigash.
Yeah.
Hey, not in Vayigash.
Yeah, that was which pasuk do you want to relate to, Roy?
That's the previous chapter.
Yeah, V'yomi Yisrael Rav Od Yosef Benichai Elcha. Let's go, Terenu, and we'll see him. B'terem Amos for death. Yeah, that was the reason that they left, and that was they were going to Mitzrayim. Right, they wanted to see Yosef. Now, question is, he brought these offerings, right? Louis brought offerings, Zvokim, and the question is, what was the nature of these korbanos, and what was the reason for these korbanos?
Well, wasn't he a little bit afraid to go down to Egypt because his father was told don't go down?
Right.
So therefore, maybe he was offering the sacrifice as a way of saying, please protect me when I go down to Egypt.
See that.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chanoch. Hi.
Yes.
You didn't say hello.
Okay. Hello. Maybe he was a little leery of going down to Egypt because his father was told, do not go down. And then Hashem says in the next pasuk, don't be afraid to go down to Egypt.
I have to understand a little bit about the function of korbanos. So the fact that he stopped at Beersheba is also significant. That we imagine he should have gone straight down. some of the Meforshim explained that there's something that stopped him. So apparently the reason of the Korbanos here is to is to create that connection with the Kadosh Baruch Hu that would allow him to proceed. He already made his mind up that he was going to go down to see Yosef. That, as you pointed out very well, Roy, right? He said, "Let's go down. We're going to go see Yosef." Right? He made his mind up. Right? So he came to Beersheba. So his coming to Beersheba was
Wow.
was a
There was a Mizbeach there.
that's not clear. It says he brought korbanos. He didn't say he built them. There are times, right? There are times that the Chumash tells us about the Avos building a mizbeach, right? Mentioned that about Avram Avinu several times. Even I think but Yitzchak had mentioned it several times. But not all the time is it mentioned that they actually built a mizbeach. There may have been a pre-existing one. Avram Avinu was very active in Beersheba. That's known.
Also a place where Yaakov left to go to Lavan.
That's because they were leaving. They're leaving it.
Yeah. No, he went there to study in yeshiva.
Yeah, that's he was living there. So
He may have thought it was a good place to leave from. You know, when he went to Lavan, he left from Beersheba, and he came back to Israel. Now he's leaving to go to Egypt. So he figures maybe I should go to Beersheba, and then before I leave. Just a thought.
okay, so it brings this the Emek Dover, one of the Perushim on Chumash, says that these were slumming. These korbanos were slumming. That is said that these are Mesugol L'Ratzon Leparnasa. These are the slumming or have an ability to influence the person's parnasa. And he stopped there specifically in Beersheba. That's where Yitzchak, his father, had been successful, right? Limso Meir Sha'arim Be'es Harav. Right, if we remember what it says there in Parsha. Yeah, if you take a look in Perek Chavav, take a look in Perek Chavav in Parshas Toldos. That's where Yitzchak was successful in Beersheba. Where Yitzchak had dug all the wells. Pasuk
We've told her. Oh,
yeah,
here.
and told us Perek 26, chapter 26, Chavav, Pasuk Yud Gimel.
Oh,
Pasuk describes the great success that Yitzchak had. That's the beginning in again Perek Chavav 26, Pasuk Yud Gimel 13. Yigdal Aish v'Elech ha'olech v'Gadel od ki Gadel ma'oid.
thus the man grew and went forward and grew until he became very great. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. And if you take a look, if you go a bit further in Pasuk Chav Gimel, right, where did this all take place? Right? Chav Gimel. Yal Misham Beersheba. So Beersheba was a place of great success for Yitzchak.
I suppose people would remember him.
Yeah, it was of course, yeah, it was very well remembered, of course.
So that leaves us where?
Oh, so now we've established a connection between Yaakov Avinu's going and stopping in Beersheba, right, on his way to Mitzrayim, and bringing offerings there, slumming apparently, which are intended to help a person with his parnasa. And that was where we've established the relationship between that and what the Torah tells us about Yitzchak, his father, and his activities, his successful activities in Beersheba.
It still doesn't explain why he offered kavanas. Which is what we started out asking.
Say that again one more time, Roy, please.
It doesn't explain why he offered kavanas, which was our original question.
Right. So if according to what the Emek David, the Netziv, is teaching us that he brought shlamim that tells us what kind of korbanos he did bring. Those were shlomim. The shlomim at the time were something which was a korban which was intended to help with a person's parnasa, his livelihood. So here, Yaakov Avinu, before he would set out to go eventually to Mitzrayim, he stopped at Beersheba. That was the place where his father Yitzchak had been successful in his efforts of parnasa, digging all those wells, and it also said the Meir Sharim, right? He was very extremely successful, and he apparently, now that leaves us, so if that's the case, that he's offering korbanos in order to be somewhat successful with his livelihood, his parnasa, his sustenance. So we would have to ask the secondary question now: why was that a concern of his? Right? And don't forget that this is a time now of famine, right? There's still famine in the land, right? And he's going into to Mitzrayim. He knows that Yosef is alive and well in Mitzrayim, and he's the leader of Mitzrayim. However, nevertheless, it's not clear exactly what's going to be established for him down there in Mitzrayim. He's going to a new place, and it could be that his primary concern would be, because now he has a large family. We saw that more than actually 70. A family of 70 was counted as going to Mitzrayim. Right? So he's got a nice large family on his hands, and he has the concern. So before leaving Eretz Israel, Beersheba, to go to Mitzrayim, it was that he would bring these korbanos as a means of helping him in his reestablishing his family in Mitzrayim, a strange place.
Wasn't that why you said you got it down to start yeshiva?
Well, that was part of his preparations. Yeah.
I'm sure there's some insight there, for his family.
Sure.
What did Hannah say?
That when Yaakov's first thing to do is to send Yehuda down to start yeshiva, so he could have Yiddishkeit there for his family.
Sorry, what for his family?
He sent Yehuda down to establish a yeshiva.
Uh-huh.
And that was, from my point of view, so there would be some Yiddishkeit in where they're going to be living.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Be a little bit clear what Yitzchak had in mind when he offered these korbanos. So let's continue on. We'll go on to the next pasuk.
Pasuk 2.
Yes.
Right. V'yomer Elohim leYisrael b'maris Halayla v'yomer Yaakov v'yomer Hanani. God said to Israel in visions of the night, and said, Yaakov, and he said, here I am. Oh, that's enough of here I am.
All right. So now this Do you understand this as a response to the bringing of the korbanos, or is this something independent from bringing the korbanos? How do we understand the connection? The very next pasuk after the korbanos, the very next connection is a direct communication between Hakadosh Baruch Hu and Yaakov Avinu in the Mara Laila, the vision that he had at night. Right. So we see that perhaps the korbanos were effective in bringing this vision that Yaakov Avinu was privileged to have. And what occurred in this? What occurred in this vision? Let's see the next pasuk. Gimel. Go ahead. It says he called out to Yaakov. Hineni, said, "Hineni, here I am." That's in the dream also. If you consider it to be a dream, it's not exactly a dream. Yes, Gimel. That's right.
ויאמר אנוכי האל אלוהי אביך אל תירא מרדף מצרים כי לגוד גדול אשימך שם. He said, I am the mighty God, the God of thy father. Fear not to go down into Egypt, for I will there make of thee a great nation.
So what does this promise of Kadosh Baruch Hu to Yaakov Avinu seem to tell us? Again, V'yom Anochi Akel Elokei Avicha. I am Kadosh Baruch Hu, the God of your father. Kal tira, do not be fearful. Me'ered Mitzrayim, to descend to Mitzrayim.
If he's going down to Mitzrayim and not fearing doing that, then he's probably going down with an attitude that shows this. And the Egyptians might be a bit wary or respectful of him.
Right. So good. Let's take a look at Rashi. Rashi adds something here. Take a look at Rashi in Pasuk Gimel. Here, not to be fearful. Right?
Fear not to go down to Egypt. God said this to him because he was grieved that he was compelled to leave the land of Israel. Okay.
Yes. What does the Rashi tell you, Roy?
Said,
Excuse me?
it just said, fear not to go down to Egypt. God said this to him because he was grieved that he was compelled to leave the land of Israel.
Right. Well, I mean, that's a bit strange. Yaakov Avinu was no stranger about leaving Eretz Israel. He spent 22 years in Padan Aram, right? But that was when he went on his own, right? There's a big difference here, right? When he went on his own, right? First of all, he went on his own. Second of all, his father had commanded him to go, and his mother had commanded him to go, right? But here, who's commanding him? He's at this point doing things on his own, right? You go back to that pasuk, go back to the previous pasuk you read there, the last one there that it says,
God said unto Israel in the visions of the night, in the visions of the night, and said, Yaakov, Yaakov, and he said, here I am.
right? Yeah. So this is something that Yaakov is initiated on his own, correct? It's quite different than when he went to Padan Aram. Even though he was very well and familiar about leaving Eretz Israel, going to Chutz La'aretz. Remember, he had the dream with the Sulam. The Malachim were going up and coming down, right? And Rashi there pointed out it was strange because what are Malachim going up first and then coming down? Usually Malachim and Shemayim, right? So you saw that from that dream that the Malachim were going up. Those are the Malachim that escorted Yaakov Avinu in Eretz Israel, and they were going up, and they were being relieved and replaced by the Malachim who were in Shemayim coming down, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have any such dream about like that over here.
No.
That's number one. So number one, he's going out of Eretz Israel on his own volition. Number one. Number two, it's not just himself alone as it was when he went to Padan Aram, but he's taking his whole family. Everybody's going.
And everything is God.
Yep, that's right. So this is a big undertaking. Quite different than when he went to Padan Aram. So here, Kadosh Baruch Hu, after the bringing of the korbanos, which was significant as we saw in enabling Yaakov Avinu to have the sustenance and the parnasa that you need in Mitzrayim, even though there's a famine, it's a matter of a famine now. There's a famine in the land, and he's going to a strange place. And even though Yosef happens to be the leader there, he doesn't know really to expect from what he hasn't seen Yosef in many years, decades.
I'll support
Yeah, but still he's down.
your family.
So what does he have to worry about? So going into Chutz La'aretz, being dependent on somebody else, that's a very risky business. Okay, let's take a look further on. Pasuk Dalet, the fourth verse there. Kadosh Baruch Hu continues.
Now he array, now arid, imacha Mitzrayim, Mitzrayim,
That's right.
Ve'ona Echi Eilecha Na Gimel Gam Ola Yosef Ishias Yoda Al Neifa.
Right. So here, Kadosh Baruch Hu is assuring Yaakov, and he's not assuring him in terms of any parnasa right now. He's talking about, right. He's not Anochi Irei Lemach Mitzrayim Anochi Ahoya Gamala. I'm going to go down with you to Mitzrayim. I'm going to come up from you with him from Mitzrayim.
I will go down with you to Egypt, and I myself will surely bring you up again. And Joseph set his eyes upon thine eyes, and Yaakov rose from Beersheba, and the sons of Israel carried Yaakov his father and their wives and their wives in the wagons which Pharaoh had sent.
Excuse me.
Excuse me?
What? I haven't gotten it. They didn't have it at that store. I haven't gotten it.
Sorry.
What's that, Lou? What happened there?
Sorry, I just said something to my wife. I should have muted.
Oh. Okay, so we see that Kadosh Baruch was giving a promise to Yaakov, not in terms of his apparent concerns about Parnasa, right? Right. So after getting this assurance, so then the pasuk K, what does pasuk K tell us?
Pasuk K says that went from Beersheba. Wait till you get to first. Yaakov, Vayakam Yaakov Mib'al Sheva Vayisu B'nai Israel Es Yaakov Avedihem As Tafas Sa'et Nisharim V'aglos Asher Shalach V'para the saints Esau. And Jacob rose from Beersheba, and the sons of Israel carried Yaakov their father and their little ones, their wives, in the wagons which Pharaoh had sent to carry him. And then verse 6. I read the English of 6, didn't I? No, it didn't. And they took their cattle and their substance, which they had gotten in the land of Canaan, and came to Egypt. Jacob with all his seed with him. Yeah.
Oh,
With
so
him.
this expression, right, that the Torah uses here, that V'yakom Yaakov Be'er-sheva, yeah. So it says V'yakom, he got up, Yaakov from Beer-sheva, Yisu B'nei Yisrael, Es Yaakov Avian, Vestapam Vestnaseim, V'agolos Asher Shalach Paro also, so to carry them. So if you want to take a look in Parshas Vayetze, there's a similar expression that was used when, if you remember, when Yaakov Avinu left Lavan. Yeah, he left Lavan. The Torah uses the same expression. Take a look in Parshas Vayetze, Perek Lamed Aleph, 31, chapter 31. You look there, chapter 31. Pasuk Yud Zayin.
Okay, so chapter 31. That's chapter 30, Yud Zayin,
That's right.
chapter 31. Right. No. These letters are so small.
Here, Yaakov is getting ready to leave from Laban. Yeah, and that was no easy task, getting himself out of the clutches of Laban, right? So here we use the same expression, the Torah Yakum. You see there in chapter Lamed Aleph, chapter 31, Pasuk Yud Zayin, chapter 17. V'yakom Yaakov, v'yisa es panav, es nashav. Al Gamolim.
Elohim, El, Lo, V'taka,
You located that, Roy?
Yeah, I've got, yeah, so Yudzayin, Ben Hamishi, right.
Again,
What's that?
chapter Rashi, chapter 31, verse 17.
Oh, that's it for searching. There's 17, chapter 7. Did you say 17 or 7?
17.
17. Ah, okay. Oh, that's chapter 8. Yeah. Yud Zayin. Yaakov, Vayisha, Es, Beno, Es, Nasha, Al Hagamalim, Hagamalim, yeah. Then Yaakov rose and lifted up his sons and his wives on the camels. We're matching up with what? I've lost our original.
You see that what's the expression that the Torah uses here in the chapter 31 Bereshis, Pasuk Yud Zayin, V'yakom Yaakov,
And Yaakov
right?
rose.
Right. So that was the expression that the Torah used when Yaakov was leaving Lavan, and here in our parsha, when he's leaving Beersheba to go finally to Mitzrayim, the Torah uses the same expression. That the and also it's mentioned here in over there actually in Parsha V'Yetzei, it mentions the rechush that he had gotten from Lavan when he was working for Lavan in Chutzlaretz. And our Parsha also has a specific mention to that rechush as well.
Mhm.
There's a parallelism here between the two Parshas that take a you still have it there in Bereshis 31 chapter Pasuk 17.
Yes.
Yaakov, it says, take a look there. Yaakov, we got up Yaakov. He saw Spanavis Mashav Al Gamolim. He carried and bore his children, his women, his wives on the Gamolim. Yinhag Eskol Mikneu Eskol Rechushay. And he started moving with all his acquisitions, which he acquired there by Lavan in Padan Aram.
Mm-hmm.
Eskol Rechus is Miknehu. It's called Rechuso, all his exact, everything is there. And now, right, now, take a look by us. That which Yaakov Avinu took with him from Lavan, what's going to happen to that over here by us? V'yikyu mikneim ves rechusham, asher rechash beretz Canaan. He took.
Oh, sorry. What's the reference? I've lost the page. It's
Yeah, that's by us here in Vayigash. Yeah, that's in Mem Vav, Pasuk Vav, 46:6.
46. So, it's 46. 6. Hey, Bob, all right. Oh, yes. Good enough. Vayikachu is Mikneihem Ve'es Rechushom Asher Rachashu Be'eretz Canaan Yavu Mitzrayim Mitzrayim, Yaakov, Behold, Zoro, Ito.
Right. So you see this, you see the consistency of Yaakov Avinu, right? Just as he did when he left Laban, right? And this was a good, quite a many years ago before that, quite many years before this time, right? The Pasuk is gonna tell us how old was Yaakov Avinu when he stood before Paro, right? That's Pasuk over here. That's in Pasuk. That's in Mem Zion. Pasuk Ches 47 8. And in Pasuk 9, Yom Yaakov El Paro Yemei Shnei Gurei Shloshim U'Mei Shana. Mat, he says 130 years. Yaakov Avinu was 130 years when he stood before Paro, right? And when he left Lavan, he was maybe 80 years old, perhaps, maybe 80 years old. So you see the great consistency of the forefathers, of our Avos, tremendous consistency. Just as the Torah describes what Yaakov Avinu did when he left Lavan, right? That's how the Torah describes how Yaakov Avinu left Eretz Israel to go to Mitzrayim, decades and decades later on after that. And if the Torah is expressing that in the same way, that means there's a tremendous consistency on the part of Yaakov Avinu, right?
Does that equate Lavan with Mitzrayim?
Not necessarily. Laban was from Padan Aram. Yeah, he was completely a whole different type of a person than a Mitzri. Mitzri was completely different than those people in Padan Aram. They're quite different. And, nevertheless, in spite of the fact that Yaakov Avinu was leaving Padan Aram, and here he's leaving Eretz Israel, and there he's leaving Lavan, and here he's going to meet Yosef, his beloved son he hasn't seen for over 22 years. Nevertheless, his consistency in what he did and how he did it is a tremendous lesson for us. One of the hallmarks of the Avos is the consistency, and not just in what you would think in spiritual matters, but also in basic physical matters as well. Tremendous consistency, which you see clearly from the psukim here. So that's a very big lesson for us.
Why is that a lesson for us? I follow what you're saying about the consistency, but what does that mean to me?
A person may think that his situation changes, and if leaving Lavan, Padan Aram, which is Chutzlatz, to come to Eretz Israel, is a different goal, a different purpose than leaving Eretz Israel to go to Mitzrayim, Chutzlaretz, to see Yosef. Nevertheless, you see that the Torah describes Yaakov Avinu's consistency in the way he did things. So that shows, right, a person who's consistent in what he does. That reveals that his inner nature is shalom, has reached a state of balance, right? That people many times, unfortunately, they react to the situation instead of the situation has to react to them, right? People get excited over all kinds of different things, and they don't react in the proper ways because they're not consistent within themselves, and they're not balanced within themselves. But we see from the Avos that even though that Yaakov Avinu was concerned, he made the mizbeachos, he brought the altars, brought the korbanos. Kadosh Baruch Hu appeared to him, reassured him, so to speak. Nevertheless, his consistency was throughout a sense of balance that he had, and that's a lesson for us. Ma'isa Avos Siman Lebanim, what the Avos did is a siman, is an indication of what we have to do too. Okay, very good. So let's take a break till the beginning of next week, and everyone should have a good Erev Shabbos, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you in the beginning of next week, Mitzvah Shem.
Okay.
Thank you, Roy. Very good help. Thank you for your help, and thank you, Lou. And
Shalom.
thank you for being here as well. And we'll be seeing everyone, Mitzvah Shem.
Amen.
Shabbat.
Thank
Be
you.
well.
Shkoyach, Roy.
Thank you.
See-